Alright guys, so welcome back. This is the second video of the Bing scraper, and in this video we'll actually start writing the code. So in the first video we had just seen the diagram on how we're going to approach this whole program, and in this video we'll start creating the project. So I'm in my folder where I usually keep my Go code, so I'm going to create a directory called Bing scraper and I'll cd into it, and here what we'll do is we'll say go mod init github.com/akhil/Bing scraper. You'll replace this with your own name and replace this with the name of the project that you want to keep for this. And we're using a GitHub link because eventually we want to push this code on GitHub, and then if there were multiple files in this project, then it would be easier for us to set relative or absolute paths. So now this go mod init creates basically a mod file for us. So let me show it to you actually. So here you can see a mod file, right? Go mod file, and this is very similar to npm init. So if you're from a JavaScript background, I'm sure it makes sense to you. And this file, go mod file, is almost like your package.json file, where you have the list of all the projects, all the packages that you're going to be using in your project. All right. Now there are a couple of packages that we need in this project, right? And most of them are provided by Golang natively, but there is one where you have to actually get it from an external source. So we'll say go get github.com/puerquito bio/go query. So go query is a package that helps you to parse results that you get from the internet. All right. When I'll show it to you, it'll make a lot more sense. As of now, don't worry about this. So it's downloading this package for us, and it usually takes a while because this is a bigger package than usual. And now you'll see you have a go.sum file as well. So this is almost like your package log.json. All right. So it's a very similar package management system like JavaScript. So I'm sure anybody who's from a JavaScript background, they won't be confused at all what's happening out here. Now I'll use my code editor, VS Code. You could be using anything else. And here we'll create our main.go file. Now if you've seen the extracting results from Google video, then this is quite similar. So we're basically going to be extracting results from Bing. Okay. And so obviously we'll have in any Golang program, you have your main.go file, you have your package main, and then you have your import statement where you import the packages that you'll need. And so I know that I'll need the FMT package. I know that I'll need the net/httpt package. I know I'll need strings to work with strings. You need this to make requests. So we'll actually build a Bing URL, and then we'll make request to it to get the result, and then we'll pass the result using the go query package that I just showed you. All right. And you have the time package, you have the math/random package, and you have the net/URL package, and then you have the github.com/puerquito bio/go query. So if you don't know anything about these packages, not a problem. We can read Golang documentation, but this is basically to print out stuff, right? This is to work with strings. This is to help you get random numbers, right? So it's all, and this, like I said, is to make requests, a HTTP request, right? So these are all. There's no rocket science being used here. These are very standard packages that we'll need, but this is the one that's the external package that will help you. So here by mistake I have kept U capital. I have to make it smaller. So, and here by mistake I have kept I as capital, so it should be small. And this is your package that you just installed. All right. Now here we'll be doing a couple of things, right? The first thing that we need is a list of Bing domains. And there'll be a map which will have a string on the left side and string on the right side, right? So this is what this indicates. So this means that there's a string on the left side, so com, and then there's a string on the right side, right? Like this. So this Bing domains is basically the list of all the domains that Bing has. So for example, .com, .uk, .us, right? So we'll keep a list of all of those. You don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to type all of that out, right? I will leave this code on GitHub and you can just copy and paste from there. So because there are more than 20, 30 Bing domains that exist, right? So you don't have to worry about this. So right now I'll just keep com here, but I'm just telling you that this will be a long list of all the Bing domains that exist out there. And I'm sure you've worked with maps, but if you in case you haven't, these are almost like key value pairs, like objects in JavaScript objects. And this has a very JSON-ish writing, what do you call it? The way of writing is very JSON-ish in the sense that you have strings with double inverted commas on the left and similarly on the right as well. And the next thing that we have here is going to be the search result. So that's going to be a struct. So we'll say type search result, and it'll be a struct because we want the results to be structured, right? So there will be the result rank, and there will be result URL, and there will be a result title. Sorry, on the next line, result title will be of type string, and result description again of type string. Now the result that we'll get from the Bing search results, right? There will be so many different data points there, but we need only these 4 data points. That's why we'll keep a struct that helps us to keep the structure, maintain the structure of the search result that we want to keep. And if you don't have any experience with structs, not a problem. It's just a data type that you can create on your own, and in our case it has these 4 different values, one of which is a string and the other 3 is one of which is an int and the other 3 are strings, right? So then we'll have a list of user agents. So I'll say user agents will be a slice of type string. Slices are like arrays, right? In case you don't know what slices are, they're like arrays, and in this array we'll have a list of strings basically, and these strings represent different type of browsers. So it could be a Chrome browser or Safari browser and your Mozilla browser, and along with the operating system. So you create like a string, a long string. Let me show you an example actually. So I'll copy and paste it from somewhere and I'll put it here. So if you look at this, this is a combination of a couple of things, right? So your browser and your operating system, so all of those things, right? And this basically, when we have to make a request to Bing, you need to have a user agent, otherwise it won't understand where the request is coming from and it won't return data. It will think that it's getting hacked. But you need to have a couple of user agents here, and you have to randomize user agents. So you can't use the same user agent to make requests again and again. So if you're making multiple requests, we'll have to use a couple of but like let's say 6 to 7 at least user agents, right? So here I've kept only one user agent, but I'll put 6 to 7, and this is just for representation right now so that you understand what's happening. And you can pick up the rest of the user agents from my code in GitHub. I'll just copy and paste it here when we're building the other things as well. Similarly here also I'll copy and paste all the other Bing domains, but you can just pick them up from my GitHub code. So like I said, we'll have user agents, and then we'll have a function that will help us get a random user agent every single time. Like I said, you can't have the same user agent making requests, otherwise you might just get flagged by Bing or by Google. So in the Google video also we had this function, the same function, and so we'll write something here in this function. Basically it'll be some code to help us get a random value from any of these user agents, right? Then you'll have a function here which will be used to build a Bing URL. So you can build Bing URLs. By building Bing URL, you mean that you'll have your link of Bing, like let's say, let me give you an example. So it'll be like https bing.com, and then you'll have your, it'll look something like this, right? It'll be https:/bing.com/search, and then you'll have your query. So we'll say q is equal to something something, and then you'll have your count as in how many. So you'll have a query like, Akhil Sharma is the query, for example, and then you'll have count as in how many result values do you want from Bing. So these kind of URLs we'll have to build. But why we need this function is because we want to input strings, right? We want to pass strings to this for the query, and then we want that to be passed here to this URL, and for this URL to be built in real time, right, based on a variable. And similarly with count as well. And not only that, but we also need to use these Bing domains like com and .in, all of those to be set with the query. So maybe you want to search bing.uk or bing.us, right, or bing.in, and not bing.com. So you can select all of those criteria here. You can select the count that you want, you can select the query that you want. So we'll pass the query and count and all of those things here to this build Bing URL function, and then we'll be able to create this kind of a URL. And then this URL is the one that we'll use to scrape or to make a request to. So talking about making requests, so obviously this will take some parameters and it'll return something. So we'll write this function later on. We'll deal with this later on. And then you have your Bing result parser. But before Bing result parser, you will have your scrape client request. So once you've built your URL, you will have scrape client request, where you will make a request to that link that I just showed you, and then you will get something in return. So this will be function as well. It'll take some parameters, we'll define those, and it'll return some values, we'll define those as well. So this will make a request, and then we'll have another function to scrape Bing. So we'll say Bing scrape. Now Bing scrape is the function that basically talks to your func main. So your func main will basically call your Bing scrape function, and Bing scrape function will be your major function, which helps you to assemble all of the results from all the other functions. So for example, Bing scrape is the one responsible for calling your build Bing URLs and calling your scrape client request and calling your result parser as well. So now we'll have a function called as result parser. So we'll say func Bing result parser, and in this function all you're doing is basically all the results that you get back from scraping the client request, you send it to Bing result parser, and then that will be unstructured data, like a lot of different data points, but we want only these 4 different data points from that data. So we'll take this unstructured data in this Bing result parser, and we'll parse all those results and create these structs for search results that the way we want them to be, and then we'll send them back to the func main. Actually, it'll come back to obviously Bing scrape, because this is like the main function that is talking to all of these different functions, and then from Bing scrape we'll come back to func main, and in func main mostly we'll print it out, or maybe we'll print it out in Bing scrape. Let's see, which is the best place to print out the result. So that is the whole outline of the entire software. We have of the entire project, and we have all these different functions, and then we might have a couple of different functions as well. So those we have to basically think about if we have anything missing. And I think I would keep this video till here, and then I'll try to continue this in the next video, so that it doesn't become too much information for you to take in. But I hope you have the outline now. You have an idea of what we're doing. So if you compare this with the diagram from the first video, everything will make sense. So we have a main function. The control from main function goes to Bing scrape. Bing scrape is the major function which basically talks to all of our other functions, which basically build Bing URLs using your user agents and using your Bing domains. And then you make a request to that link using scrape client request, and then you scrape Bing, and then you get that data into Bing result parser. You parse the result based on the struct that you have created, and you send all that result back to Bing scrape, and all that result back to func main, and you print it out from func main or Bing scrape. That you have to decide yet. and there could be a couple of different functions left again. So that's the overview, and then in the next video we'll just start writing all of these functions. Thanks a lot for watching. Do stay subscribed so that you can know when the next video comes out. And in general, on our channel we have a lot of Golang videos that can that range from simple to very complicated ones. This is a simple video, and we have like really complicated ones as well with cryptocurrency and blockchain and all of that stuff. So do stay subscribed if you want to progress as a Golang developer, and thank you for watching.